normal.
Maybe we can figure it out on the POG state or something like that. Really dig into it and make sure that we can get some terminology sorted out, as is the LCK way. But here we are, into the draft for game number 2. Nongshim on our blue side this time around.
Ob jetzt eventuell Talia Rice kommt in Mitte? Ja, wer will das erwarten? 1-0 Nongshim, Katastrophe. Gigafro. Hier Nongshim gegen 1 gespielt. Wow. Nicht so gut, bis sie dann das Game gewonnen haben, nämlich.
Malphite's gone once again. Jace.
Ja, ich vermute mal, wir sehen Talia Rice Mitte.
What, 21 times I think it's been.
Yep, that's 100%.
And be the Vi to be taken away from Sponge here. I'm kind of most interested for Hanwha Live Esports what Kanavi is playing, because that just really seems to dictate the pace of how they play. He's such a different player from Peanut, but the jungle role has always been so pivotal since Peanut's been on this team for how the game is played, the early game, the pace of it, how much ganking, how much farming, you know, timings, rotations.
Yeah, Talia Rice. Looking at us.
Had one mode, and it's been fun to watch, for better or for worse. And it's mostly been for better.
Yeah, until it wasn't.
We'll see what the final ban is going to be here, and Yunara may just simply be it.
We'll see whether they do take that away. Yunara and Varus were both banned away in the last game. Ambessa is another thing that was taken out as well. So 3 things going to be left up, or sorry, 2 out of the 3 going to be left up as Yone is taken away from Zeka here to start it off. So Ambessa looking like her stocks are rising here.
Oder das, ja. Ambessa oder Rice.
Could both be playing it. Wouldn't mind that as a flexible option.
Guma in this moment will have to make a bold call.
Ich glaube, Yunara first pick ist, also für Yunara ist offen actually. Okay, Rice first pick, ja.
Cassiopeia, not a hard counter, but
Talia Jarvan.
something available to scout in this situation. Arise is so incredibly powerful in terms
Talia Jarvan, Nongshim 1-0, ja. Talia
you want to be able to match that. Not a whole lot
Talia Jarvan wäre jetzt auf jeden Fall eine Option.
in this meta, just simply because he's got great wave clear, and with his ghost and phase rush, it's hard to punish him in sides.
Yeah.
As this will be one of the champs that could potentially do it in a team fight.
It's hard to run out of a Cataclysm. That's absolutely true. So it could be an option here as Sponge does lock away the J4.
Also feels like a great denial from Kanavi, who's done so well on this pick. And the Yunara, you know, not a mystery that that one was likely to come in tow. Taemin laughs about it.
Yeah, they don't have
Kann jetzt mal besser slam.
Lulu to pair alongside it, so it will be something else alongside the Yunara this time. Is Kanavi
Das weiß ich nicht.
considering something
He's
weird?
trolling, I think. There's no way.
Amumu's obviously it.
Now they could just lock in Lucian Braum and play through that in the bottom lane. The Ambessa
Gerne, Jesse. Grüß
this
dich.
time will be a flex pick here, but I think the expectation is that it's going into the jungle as the Varus can be taken here for
Varus.
going for the Lucian angle.
Ja, also die Frage, picken jetzt Renner auf 3?
In the lane.
And,
Oder was machen sie?
as well for Guma at the same time.
100%.
All right, one
Renner auf 3, Talia. Das sind die Optionen, denke ich.
See whether it is going to be a rounding out of the bottom lane, save that solo lanes for after the next round of bans, or whether it'll be something else. As the Talia consideration for Scout and will be locked in. We've seen this so many times. But Talia has, I don't know, she hasn't really got me going so far this season, not going to lie.
The Realm War is, we're seeing it way more often because usually the Rise clears the wave and is like, well, I can go wherever I want. And Talia's trying to follow that rotation, try to match it. And sometimes it's just so slow that you don't even opt for the Weaver's Wall and you get a consolation plate, something like that. So seeing Scout can change the narrative here. It has been one of his best picks since he joined this roster, even going as far back as the Kespa Cup.
Yep.
So it's definitely a pick he has 100% mastery of. It's just, we're not 100% sure if it's good in this this current meta. It has not been finding the same success it used to. Rakan is taken away, which I find to be kind of interesting here. Great follow-up for an Ambessa engage. The Alistar has been the pick with Yunara in the bottom lane, even into lanes that push really hard. Just gives you a little bit more robust of a front line.
Weiß nicht, ob wir Fresh sehen würden.
Yeah, a lot of supports
Als potenzieller Savior.
No threat of a silence.
Ist er besser Jungle oder Top? Ich meine, Flex, du kannst auf jeden Fall Jungle spielen, aber ist die Frage, ist Flex auf jeden Fall noch.
That's a good point, actually. Always something to keep in the back of your mind. Is Rel also taken away? A lot of engage options being banned. I think Nautilus could be another thing that they do decide to take away, but instead it's the Renekton removed.
Yeah, it doesn't want to play Ken in this game.
Yeah, I guess not.
Interesting to see that one gone. So in terms of threats here, I mean, they have the Talia, they have the Jarvan set up, and Nautilus, you mentioned, was not banned away. They banned the Renekton instead. That one ends up being pretty obvious here. And now they can save counterpick for sorting out what this Ambessa is truly going to be doing. I think the assumption still is jungle, but you don't want to make that assumption if you're Nongshim Red Forest. You want to wait and see. And this will actually flip the table on that as Kanavi gets his hands on the Shin.
Jarvan First Pick, war nicht Jarvan First Pick, war Ryze First Pick.
Been finding a little bit more
Ryze First Pick into Jarvan Yunara.
part of week 1 here of LCK Cup 2026.
Okay, Ambessa top.
Is, what is Delight playing?
Yeah, could it be like
Renata?
Aatrox raus.
Renata, like
Renekton raus als Antwort auf die Ambessa.
It's ranged, but Braum is going to be the opt-in instead. It's going to be a tough lane here for Taylor.
Top lane last pick für Kingen.
And the final pick here will be the answer to that Ambessa top lane for Kingen.
All right, what are we doing? He looks like there's almost a grin on his face. Is it
Just going to win it.
And this is a tough matchup in the Ambessa. So we'll see how
Den last pick, okay.
But will be an absolute menace later on into the game. A lot of
Ihr bekommt 2 Minuten.
here for Nongshim with that one locked away. This could have been one of those comps where a tank is locked in towards the top side of the map, but obviously into an Ambessa it doesn't feel fantastic. And instead, it's a 3-threat comp and will be doing a lot of damage in the later stages.
Dieses Aatrox als Ambessa kann da raus, weil der gepickt wurde in Game 1.
A lot of range himself, but outside of that, everyone else is up close and personal.
Weil er in Game 1 gepickt wurde.
I think Nongshim need to be incredibly confident with their setups and engages. If you go in, there is no going out. Like, if you start a fight, there is no canceling that fight because there's a problem on the other side. There's chains of corruption. There's an insane front line. Now, when Zeka's actualizer is online, they are just going to fall to pieces if they try to disengage. So you're going to have to see Nautilus working in tandem with the
Kann sehen und sein. Aatrox war Jungle.
have to be on point. The follow-up is going to have to be fast.
Aatrox war Jungle, Bro.
Because they need to win the fights quickly, as if those fights go longer, it's a big problem. And they also can't really, mess around in the neutral. If they play slow, that Varus poke will...
HLE liegt hinten, ja, monumentaler Pro.
They're not going to be able to
Monumentaler Pro in Game 1.
They're going to have to play through vision, fight for vision, and constantly be ready to go in as a coordinated unit. That was, for the first half of the game in Game 1, not the case, but they were able to do it there in the end.
I'm really intrigued by these drafts and how they're going to work, but Gumayusi on his own skin on the Varus as well. Very, very cool to see.
Mockerfocker, danke fürs ganze Jahr. Dankeschön. Alright, Chrissy.
All right, Humble fans in full voice here today, trying to get them back into this series as we do have the first ward going down, but immediately answered here by Nongshim on the other side.
Oh, and you kill that ward, there's almost, it's almost more satisfying than getting
Ja, sag, ja.
kill there.
Welchen Kampf würdest du lieber spielen?
Oh, hook coming on through here. Is Delight already taking a bit of damage?
When you get the ward and a champion kill, or at least 2.
Talia gegen ziemlich Low Range kommt ist schon nice. Also mit Ausnahme von Varus ist das eine relativ Low Range kommt, da ist Talia schon ziemlich geil rein.
A lot of damage onto Delight, so high value. As Nongshim starting off this lane.
Problem ist, dass der Braum hier insane Value hat von Delight.
Unfair.
Yeah.
Also Braum Value ist hier wirklich verrückt hoch.
Lehends is going in.
Yeah, well, Lehends is going to find the passive stun onto Delight after not quite hitting the anchor.
Lehends does this a lot. It's something a barrel
wahrscheinlich Hanwha.
where you aim like this, and if they
Wahrscheinlich Hanwha.
predict where you're going,
Ich glaube, das kann hier ein sehr undankbares Jarvan-Game werden.
health advantage like this.
Alle gut.
It's kind of like he's game theoried the play, where he's like, well, no matter what, I'll get something out of this.
Yeah.
Looks silly, but actually ends up working a lot.
Plop.
And right now they have full control of the wave. Hook gonna connect here onto Gumayusi
Schön.
as well as he has to flash out of the way. And once again, Lehends
Schön.
avoids getting stunned by that Winter's Bite concussive blows. Oh man, Nongshim really taking control
Gute Early
of
aggression.
this lane towards the bottom side.
Really aggressive plays from Lehends working out. The stack Q from the ward was the beginning of the snowball rolling. Taeyeon does take a lot of damage here, though, on that follow-up, so needs to be careful, but this is going to be the wave crashing through. Free win here for Nongshim in this early laning phase.
Yeah, might even be able to go get a cheeky cull.
Yeah, that's what I think he's going to do. If he has enough money, he probably does.
Well, we'll have to see exactly where he is going to go there. Has opted for the cleanse, but it's a teleport on the other side, so no barriers to be watched out for here.
There it is.
And you're exactly right. Okay, so we do have the cheeky cull and straight back to lane. So not exactly the most power as far as extra stats, but going to be really banking on that mid game for when that is going to proc.
The closest thing to like a Rod of Ages for a champ like this, right? An AD.
Einmal dahin vertrauen. Ja.
Get that free lane.
Jungler bedeutet dann mit Full Clear.
And you're like, all right, well, this is going to be more money later. And, you know, the call gives you some additional stats. Not really a lot to write home about, but it is going to be a feeling of like, okay, I've kind of gotten through some of the toughest part of my game, and I'm going to have a really fast spike later on.
And you don't really pay for it either.
Yeah, you get money out of it.
The lane is nowhere near pushed into their turret. Home guard's going to be helping out there. So Zeka moving in towards 2 people. Not sure about this one here, sir, as he's taken down to 100 health, but Nongshim not going to push the issue. They'll just take the ghost and get themselves out.
Guma gonna back here. Does have teleport, so can just go straight back to the lane. So he
Können wir gleich BLG Top Esports? Nein.
continue to have a CS advantage here.
Yep.
Nein.
And his tier is going to start stacking up as well, so not too bad.
Schauen heute die LCK. Und danach schauen wir noch AL gegen JDG, wenn es noch läuft. Top Esports ist Trash. Wir gehen wahrscheinlich 2-0.
So getting closer and closer.
Dann 0-2.
As Kanavi here towards the top lane. Kingen could be in trouble as he is pushed very far up. Zeus now dives on in. Zeus going down relatively low, but the
gank
push from Kanavi will get the return flash out of Kingen as well. He's in the
Schön.
mist, but Gwen this time is not immune, and that is first blood over to Kanavi once again.
Ist LCK Highlight Videos?
I
Nein.
guess he really thought that perhaps that would be enough there with those extra resistances, despite the lack of immunity, to get that kill back on the Kanavi, but commits his flash to try to buy the space. Gets Kanavi's flash in return. Will go down. And you saw Sponge was heading to maybe pressure the bottom lane there, but didn't really work out timing-wise and went to Krugs and then wasn't able to make a cross-map happen. Sponge has now fully cleared his bottom side and is looking to potentially make an impact on that long wraparound here, but they have a control ward defensively here, and I think Guma and Delight should be fine with this wave pushing. Now, if Scout had...
Schaut Botlane dive an.
This could be a little bit scary. He's still going to come over.
Yeah. He's going to be the one that walks over a ward, but Sponge is just blocking.
Kein Flash auf Varus.
Gumayusi does not have his flash available. There's the flag and drag, and the flick
Clean.
onto 2. Scout locks down
Clean.
the kill, and man, I mean, asking the question of what Nongshim had for breakfast is pretty obvious. It's probably ramen, but oh my goodness, it must have been good.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of products
Clean, relativ simpel. Kein Counterplay möglich.
here every day.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it smells really nice. I'm a little bit jealous. Zeka is going to Realm Warp.
All right, let's see whether HLE can make the play work themselves, as they will be able to grab a plate, and Kingen is just dead. No flash, no chance. Zeka able to tank up the turret quite comfortably there. So the answering kill does come on through.
Yeah, and it's the, you know, the Talia that makes the kill happen first this
Sondern
time.
es lohnt, einen Arm leben zu lassen. Das ist so Hokuspokus.
For that Realm Warp, and Zeus
Macht legit keinen Unterschied. Also ob du dir jetzt die 1 Sekunde extra spendest, um die letzte Krug zu machen, glaube ich nicht. Dass es einen riesen Unterschied macht.
both sides here. So HLE Esports taking a significant
Ist gut, Kanavi ist strong. Nimmt das hier noch, ist Level 6.
setup happen on the bottom
Kann auch seine Gromp nehmen.
Cannot ignore.
Aber der Sensor für den Gromp-Fight wird ein Riesenproblem sein.
And especially
Ein Riesenproblem.
now at 0.
Und King wird komplett useless sein.
How important it is to get that quest loaded in.
Wir hatten gestern die Einschätzung von Vladi bezüglich Ghost und der meinte einfach, dass Homeguard so OP ist, dass du halt in Mitte nicht zwingend TP rennen musst, sondern auch mit Ding davon kommst.
And it can become quite difficult. Staying here though, going to comfortably
Hallo, Simo.
clear out this minion wave, and he still has a decent advantage up against Gumayusi with a 10 CS lead.
And Kingen still doesn't have his ultimate. I don't think there's a window here for Zeus, really. He's like 1 minion away. But
Hallo, Doma.
it's been scary. Kanavi was relatively nearby.
Yeah, it's a full level in the lead here for Zeus, as Kingen does hit level 6 now, so that needlework up and available.
Lag's im ersten Game, komplett overconfident. Overconfident und einfach tiefer gegrieft.
Zeus continuing his lead.
Game war hart gewonnen für Hanwha. Also hart gewonnen.
Talia pick up an early kill though here in LCK Cup. See what Scout can do with the lead he picked up there, and gave an advantage to Taeyun as well, who will have that call here. 54 minions. So it's a really even game right now.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Level 6 here for Gumayusi, so Chains of Corruption now online. And HLE, this composition does skirmish very well in the early stages, but I think the Nongshim are going to be kind of comfortable at that stage as
Wann hat der
well.
Bart, wo der LCK schaut, ich meine, bei Tolle.
Just want a few extra items.
Oh, ja.
I think that
Danke für den 8. Dankeschön.
will do a
Vielen
lot
Dank.
of work with 1 to 2 items and not so much the Yunara. So Nongshim with a little bit of late game insurance for that reason, but also may not be able to tussle quite as effectively at the beginning of this game. But that color's about to cash in.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
Lehens. Activating Hex Flash.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
Okay.
Barrel left, but I feel like his remain.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like,
in the form of Lehens.
Those wall dredge lines I was talking about earlier, that's a barrel thing.
There you go.
Doing. And... All right, his player cam reaction, well, he had a little sigh, but looked like he didn't really,
Wirklich geben.
really care about it too much.
I mean, Delight ist auf Botlane. Kann er nicht TP nehmen sogar?
Must be the reason.
Ich habe nicht drauf geachtet, kann Delight nicht TP nehmen?
Well, Kanavi looking for a bit of an angle here towards Scout. The ghosts have been popped on both sides, but Sponge moves his way over. That is going to mean that Nongshim are going to be A-OK. Kanavi not quite able to find an angle here, as Delight moving towards the mid lane does have that Glacial Fissure up and available.
Double control word. Got to work on that communication as Kanavi.
Lehens finds himself behind enemy lines, but also in a very uncomfortable position. It's a great Cataclysm, though.
Schöner Fight. Schöner Fight. Kingen ist immer noch useless und Zekka ist Full HP. Strong. Gutes Skirmishing, so wie letztes Game auch. Genau dasselbe. Sehr gutes Skirmishing.
Such an opportunistic play from Lehens. It looked like initially might have worked because Scout's there with the follow-up, and that's the kind of decisive call I was talking about. You can't go in and say, never mind, we're not gonna play this one. You have to actually look for the follow-up fight. They obviously didn't have their AD carry there. Guma wasn't there either, but the shove was there. Scout to the follow-up damage, but Lehens just takes so much on the opening salvo. As look at this, he goes in, Hex flashes, drops the ultimate onto a Xinjiao. So that's kind of part of the issue here, is you can't really kill Kanavi fast enough, despite the fact that Scout's so quick with the follow-up. Kingen shows up here as well, but there's just no real range damage. Scout's like, I got no cooldowns. Kingen just gets kited, and Zekka is just going to have way more damage throughput than Natalia at this type of moment, so... Oh,
another fight breaking out, but Nongshim kind of realizing they're not exactly as well positioned in these skirmishes as HLE.
Ich habe Sponge noch, ich habe nicht drauf geachtet, ob Sponge noch eine Ding drüber hätte killen können.
HLE after getting themselves the first Drake as well. So a Cloud already done. It's under a minute until we have this Chemtech Dragon coming up. And HLE, if they can get themselves into a position where they have that double dragon, that extra dragon control, it's something that Did was talking about on the space, was a bit sloppy from HLE.
Realistisch, das Game ist schon wieder durch. Na, also, ganz kurz Expectations richtig halten, dieses Game ist realistisch schon wieder durch. Die Ambassador ist so ahead auf Toplane, dass die Gwen ewig nicht zurückkommen wird in diesem Matchup. Deren Skirmishing ist besser. Jungle ist 1k Gold ahead, das heißt, der wird schneller härter spiken auf 2 Items. Midlane ist ahead. Im Matchup, in dem du eigentlich erst später reinkommst, also sehr gut reinkommst.
I'm kind of looking at this game now as how much of a lead can HLE have to...
Und Junara ist der X-Faktor. Aber wie gesagt, Braum ist halt super gut gegen die Nongshim kommen.
No, just stands beside Gumiushi and is going to be A-OK.
And
Scott spielt mal wieder decent, hat Game 1 komplett reingegrieft. Komplett Game 1 gegrieft.
But here's the Cataclysm as Zeus gonna look to go 1v2, finds a public execution.
Er ist tot, ne? Er hat Spells ab. Oh, wow, er benutzt es so, dann... Wow, okay, Moment. Weil du dir einen ins Hemd nur schützt, das tut mir sehr leid. Ist noch sehr früh. Entschuldigung.
This does help Kingen a little bit. Obviously getting a second kill of the game here, grabbing some plate gold. This is going to be huge for the Gwen, but it's Ocean Soul here for HLE Esports, but they bought themselves a ton of time for the scaling rise. And so it feels like an even exchange across the board.
Yeah, I would say so.
In terms of gold, obviously better for Nongshim, as Zeus here just...
Ja, hätte er hier überlebt, wäre das auf jeden Fall nicht so gut gewesen, ne? Für das Game, aber er hat sein W so irgendwie in die Wand platziert, ne? I guess er kommt so oder so nicht raus, weil die EQ-Combo gleich ab ist. Er kommt nicht raus.
Gwen isn't able to actually threaten kills, then she really is kind of a dead weight. And so, feeling better about that one. I think understanding where they need to be putting their attention is... Speaking of attention, HLE throws theirs...
Warum geht's eigentlich nur um Tolkien? Morgens in LCK, wenn ich stream? Interessenshalber, Freunde. Ihr wisst, mich stört das nicht so sehr wie andere Streamer, aber nur interessenshalber.
He's just not that tanky. And that's just going to be a little bit more bottom side control here for HLE Esports. Like I said, it's not the end of the world, but just some additional gold. Holding onto this lead. Zekka stacking his tier, stacking his Rod of Ages. And yes, Junara is a late game threat, but that Rise is a real scary one. as we've seen so many times, and he has 3 kills in this game.
Yeah, it's a very, very scary blue guy.
And so I'm kind of wondering if HLE is going to be playing a little blue man group later on.
I think they certainly have the tools to do it. Zeka now eating some honey fruit. He deserves it. There's Gumiushi down here towards the bottom side. Will tank up turret shot. There's another Hex Flash being used here. See, Lehends was activating it, man.
Oh,
he just really wants to be able to press that button.
He's pressed it like 6 times at least. And go back and look at this once again. He's on Vision. And he goes on to the Braum. And unfortunately, I mean, he's on the wrong side of this one. The Realm Warp comes through, like...
Yeah, and teleport in from Gumiushi as well, so it did kind of look to them, I guess, like they'd found the Braum, but it's Braum, it's so hard to kill him.
TP plus Realm Warp, I mean,
Erneut Braum, super viel Value hier in die Gegnerkomp.
Like, I guess Lehends wasn't accounting for.
Würde ich immer noch, wenn das Game even ist, als potenziellen Gamebreaker sehen.
2v2 here towards the top side of the map.
Ja, das 2v2 ist nicht winnable für Nongshim, glaube ich.
King in, down to 50%, but there's Kanavi making his way forward.
Außer Kanavi Grief, das ist so, oh mein Gott, was macht er? Alter. Ey, ohne Spaß, was macht er?
Able to assist the kill there towards Lehends, who does fall for the 3rd time, but he'll be saying worth it.
Also das ist so schlechtes Skirmishing von Kanavi. Also das ist eine horrible Skirmish gewesen von Kanavi. Horrible skirmishing.
And then here, Sponge plays this super well. King and kind of baiting ready. Like you said, he waits. Sponge waits for the last possible second to actually see how much value you can get.
Junge, viel zu schnell. Das kann er wieder falsch gemacht, du darfst nicht Heads first. Also, was sie hätten machen sollen, ist die Ulti von Gwen auswarten. Die sind ja, also die gewinnen es ja, wenn die Gwen-Ulti raus ist. Hat sie das Ulti gemisst, wurde gegen also wegen Gwen W, ja. Rennt Face first rein, ultet dann so richtig komisch. Und benutzt alle seine Spells, ist komisch.
He's not there in the mid lane, so Taehoon picks up a plate. So 3 plates in his pockets, starting to become a larger threat himself. And
Woher kommt die Braum Valley? Du meinst jetzt für Hanwha? Nongshim kommt, die hart reinrennen muss, damit sie Fights gewinnen?
I mean, running with scissors was dangerous enough, right? When it was level 18 at the maximum. Sponge does flag and drag his way.
Gibt es einen Grund, warum du gerade nicht LPM machst? Yes.
Still early days, ladies and gentlemen. If you do want those 3 games or you're an HLE.
LCK hat eine Prozentquote, die ich erfüllen muss. Und Top Esports ist fucking horrible. Also wird BLG da 200 drüber fahren. Nongshim erste Game geholt wie? Honestly, ein Giga-Throw von Hanwha mit schlechtem Teamfighting am Ende.
Could be. I'm gonna say probably not, but
yeah.
Maybe strong late game wipes are actually just the real.
We have evidence from last game that perhaps it's not the greatest thing to do, you know?
The rotation over here to Herald for Hanwha is much stronger. Zeus has TP as well. And Kingen could match, but could also be interrupted.
Looks like.
Wer ist der Jungler bei Top Esports nach Kanavi?
But
it's like Scout's telling his teammates don't contest.
Yeah, this is a very weird situation.
Komische Play.
Do take the Rift Herald. So now
Nayu.
There is the flick back onto Delight. Down to 50% as Kanavi makes his way in, obviously. Flag and drag knocks him towards the sky. His Chains of Corruption, oh, just barely outranged. By Lehends there.
Kanavi hat eine Ulti und Flash up. Er ist fein. Aber hier, ob der reingeht, ja.
Kanavi is just so terrifying.
2-1 BLG gestern.
And they end up getting the win on that one. Nongshim are going to try to take this dragon in return.
That's another seismic shove connecting.
Raumschild ist so insane. Guter Pull aber. Also Lehends spielt ja echt ein decent Game, mit Ausnahme von den Devs. Ein decent Game.
So they get the dragon, they get the kill. We'll lose some plates here.
Gegen wen spielt Pentacle gegen SK?
Been a factor of that, but really strong turnaround for Nongshim after what happened there on the top side, and Sponge is going to get out with no problems. So that'll be their first dragon of the game. This game is suddenly really close, you know, when you look at the scaling Inara, the rise, the fact that this Gwen is going to be a side lane threat. It's getting stronger and stronger, but at the same time, the way these fights have been looking, and so whoever punches first seems to be getting a pretty significant lead, or the punishes of the overextensions.
Erste Headwelle in der Arena ist trash.
But we're seeing teams set up and then kind of not be able to commit and then get punished right afterwards. That 1,200 gold lead for Taehoon is the scary part.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kingen as well, with about a 900 gold lead himself on this Gwen after being targeted, down 0-2 in the early game. And he is now one of the big threats on Nongshim.
Ja, die Yunara ist auf jeden Fall scary. Ich weiß immer noch nicht, ob diese, also wir hatten gestern 2 Iterationen, einmal den Fiend-Hunter-Bild, den auch Taeyun gerade spielt, und dann einmal hatten wir den normalen Bild von Super mit PD-AI. Und ich habe mich noch nicht, also ich habe mich echt noch nicht festgelegt, was ich besser finde. Ist gerade wieder gut dieses Jahr? Nein. Nein, immer noch schlecht.
This is not exactly an easy task for HLE to find their way back into this series / game.
I thought for sure Scout was going to force the ghost trade there. He's just on the edge of a potential shove, but does not end up committing there. Knife's Edge game. Kingen is, if he's ever left alone, going to just balloon this lead.
Oh yeah.
And when he has Nasher's Tooth later, going to be incredibly potent. Sometimes we see that built first if it's a Gwen matchup where you just kind of crush it, or if you've been given a lot of resources, you get ahead. In this game, and going Riftmaker first to deal with the Ambessa and to have some.
Willst du das für uns gewinnen Game? Ja, gegen KCB heute. Bina sieht echt gut aus, zu werden, was komisch ist, weil es ja gebufft wird, ne? Guter Collapse. Er hat immer noch Glance Up, Taeyun. Wow, macht der Damage. Alter. Also Rise Damage ist verrückt, da kommt Kingen aber in der Backline. Guter Flank von der Gwen. Sehr guter Gwen-Flank. Wow. Und Zeus ist zwar da, aber ich glaube nicht, dass es reicht. Oder kommt der ein besser Ulti, wird geflasht. Schaut auf Kingen. Gestackter Riftmaker, gewinnen SOP, Handler verliert. Wow. Wow.
To see the damage stats after that fight between Scout and Kingen, just hitting everybody. It's stacked up.
Wow, das ist disappointing Teamfighting.
This one initially looks like okay, Taeyun getting caught is a big problem, but Delight missing this ultimate actually means that Zeka has to get.
Hätte Taeyun da nicht rausflashen müssen. Ich habe den Damage auch nicht erwartet, fairerweise. Also er hätte auf jeden Fall flashen können, aber ich habe den Damage auch nicht erwartet. Hast du gestern gewonnen oder nicht? Nein.
And then Kanavi's like, I'm ready to fight, but they lost their carries, so they can't really do anything here.
Ab welchem Punkt glauben wir, dass Nongshim das Game gewinnt? Ich bin nämlich langsam an den Punkt angekommen.
It is nasty. Everyone's all stuck.
Morgenbladei, hallo Höfi.
And both Scout and Kingen love what that looks like.
Exactly, man. The snip value kind of insane. As Taeyun, yep, hands off keyboard. He's
like, I got caught. Thank you, guys are welcome.
I got caught. We won the cooldowns, all right? Soaked the cooldowns, and he absolutely did. To be perfectly honest, the fact that Zeka had to go that deep, that was his first death of the game, right? Yeah. Went up to 4-0 and 2 in that moment. Him being dead is so much of the HLE money off the table. And speaking of money, it's now a 4,000.
Holy fucking, das war 15, Mann. Junge, die Gwen ist so ein Problem. Ach du Scheiße.
Yeah, was very much back and
Ach du Scheiße.
And this is a big significant lead after a decisive team fight win. And a bit of a messy one from Hanwha Life Esports, you know, like on one hand, it's like Taeyun forced Zeka to go that deep, but Zeka could have also just been like, all right, well that AD carry isn't going to do anything, so let's kind of refocus. Kanavi was also chasing Lehens, like there were a lot of things that could have been played differently in that fight for Hanwha Life. But Nongshim are very happy. They're like, no, if they did it again, they'd 100%.
Immer noch Talia versus eine relative Low-Range-Comp. Gefährlich für Hanwha. Plus natürlich die Gwen jetzt.
And now we're looking at 30 seconds. So
als extra Faktor.
The second for Nongshim. Weaver's well set up here for Scout again. And this is going to be a very difficult fight to enter for Han Life Esports.
Yeah, Scout, you can see, moving towards Zeus and does actually clip him there.
Guter Pull.
Shove down to 50%. Kingen moving forward. This turret is
Kingen hat noch Ulti ab, kann re-engagen, kann nicht re-engagen, ist tot. Oh, aber gegen den Fight. Zeus hat kein Flash, nicht vergessen, schaut auf Scout, hittet immer noch Taeyun und Scout. Auf Kanavi tot, Zeka kommt rein, alleine. Pull gemisst, der Light geht rein, wird gestunt. Beide Carries noch am Leben auf beiden Teams. Even Fight, obwohl Kingen hier echt hart gegrieft hat am Anfang vom Fight. Schwierig.
Taeyun just does so much damage. Kanavi is like, I kill this 80 carry, right? And Taeyun's like, it's patch 26.1, actually.
I'm sorry, sir.
We do a lot of damage. And he has that Kraken Slayer slamming into the end of the enemy team. And it's going to be a call here.
Vielleicht gleich Dankeschön für den 16. Danke.
Yep.
About the next dragon fight.
Yep, letting him know exactly what cooldowns are up and available and all that sort of stuff. And
Sehr face, sehr. Und Lea, Leaf, Dankeschön für den 11. Sehr face first hier von Kingen. Wow. Sehr face first.
Ultimately get in and zone the damage away from Taeyun. Just has to deal with Kanavi only. And then Lehens here does die, but look at how much damage Taeyun does in this interim. As Guma's just not able to close the gap. Zeka cannot do enough damage, and they're still going to reset here and get the faster take on the dragon. So the end result is the same, despite an even trade of kills there. They take the second dragon. They remain in a near 5,000 gold lead. And now IE is done for Taeyun.
Yeah, that's the scary part. That was just a BF sword that he had in his inventory for the last fight, and now it's going to be much more scary.
And Zeka is only half of his actualizer, whereas the third item is complete here for Sky.
Ja, auch HI fertig bei Taeyun. Sehr gefährlich. Dieser Varus sieht so useless aus. Was macht's neue Item von Yunara? Es gibt Ultimate Ability Haste. Es gibt die Ultimate Ability Haste und wenn du ultest, bekommst du für die ersten 3 Autotacks 100% Crit. Wenn die sowieso critten würden, weil sie hat ja auch 50% Crit, dann bekommst du extra True Damage. Ja, Gwen 16 und Seekers fertig. Sehr, sehr unangenehme Situation für Hanwha jetzt.
The double dragon that HLE were able to put together in the early game, but since then the game's kind of fallen apart.
Ja, gut, für Vigo gibt keine AD.
Can cleanly close this one out.
Gibt keine AD, das Item.
They have it pretty clear in their mind that anything can go wrong and they can just lose the game. 100%. That's precisely what they capitalized on in game 1.
100% that could happen, but if they can maintain.
Mal schauen, sobald Zeka 16 ist mit Actualizer, denke ich, sieht das Ganze nochmal anders aus, aber.
And so Vision game, I mean, look at the pings. Probably from Lens, he's just like pinged, please assist like 7 times there on the top side of the map. He's like, put those.
Bis jetzt kam kein gutes Varus-Game, doch Hope gegen BLG gestern hat ein gutes Varus-Game gespielt. Hat ein sehr gutes Varus-Game gespielt.
Of this Baron pit now, and it's very easy to turn off of it with this Talia that's got Weaver's Wall. They have control over mid. I mean, this Vision toggle.
Wo sehen meine Augen, ja.
Like they can see almost everything.
Die haben 1 gewonnen, ja. In Game 2 auch noch. Und Glückwunsch zu gestern, Danusch.
Discovered here as Zeus and Zeka are going to try and hold him in position. Let's see whether King can get this one done. Remember,
wow, SOP. Wow, SOP.
It's just straight up dead. Public execution comes on through, and King does go golden. Now the fight on the
Engage auf 2 Seiten. Taeyun ist halt viel stärker als Gumayushi.
Double knockups with that ulti out of the hands as Scout will show up. They take down Sponge though, and Kanavi taking so much damage. And he will finally fall down. 2 for 1, the trade in favor of HLE.
And I just don't see any way that Hanwha Life Esports can use this, though, at this moment in time to actually further value.
I don't know.
I mean, they don't have their jungler, they can't take Baron, so it feels like.
Hab's Gefühl, die haben wieder nichts gemacht. Also ich habe keine Ahnung. Also glaubst du, die gewinnen heute gegen Fnatic? Ich sehe es nach den Games gestern irgendwie nicht. To be honest. Nach dem Game gibt's T1 gegen DRX. T1 gegen DRX und danach Anyone's Legend gegen JDG, wenn es noch läuft. Und dann ab 17 Uhr LEC. Man spielt Lost Returns, immer LEC schreibe ich mir die Schedule hier auf. Zweite Game. Ja, wir haben Flash, hab nicht 50-50, guys. Geht auf Zeus oder nicht? Ja. What the fuck? Spell Usage ist so wild. Wir sind LEC Best of Ones, weil es 12 Teams gibt. Sponge engage in die Backline mit Flash. Wow. Bro, wer war tot oder nicht? Ich glaube, King kommt auf Gumayushi oder nicht? Ne, er ist lost. Wow. 2-0. Ich glaube, die finishen oder nicht? Ne, Wave ist weg. Aber nice down, das ist so krank. Wow. Verrückt. Oder bis jetzt 10 Mal außerhalb des Saul hier deckt. Nein, du willst nicht Melee, also du willst nicht Melee Range laufen, wenn du nicht mit vollen Informationen spielst.
1v9 this team fight essentially. as Gumayushi, he's got his shield from his Edge of Night, but it's popped instantly, and Kingen just gets on top of him. And on the bottom side of the fight, Zeka is just really struggling to close the gap here on the back line. Offers a decent amount of damage to Sponge.
Da ist Mistral? Ja, das ist möglich. Aber generell.
Phase rush his way out of here. He's trying to do what he can. Zoom in. Let me out of here.
Also ich hab ein 2-0 erwartet. Aber ich habe nicht das 2-0 erwartet. Also, ja, das habe ich nicht erwartet.
But the engage from Sponge was fantastic. I thought he was safe. Honestly, I felt like he'd done enough to get himself out, but instead, Kingen dashes, flashes, and he's right on top of the Varus. And not a lot the Gumi can do when the flash is on cooldown. And so now you got a shield bow done for Taeun as in goes.
Varus-Pick generell, ich hasse Varus. Also, du, wenn du Varus haten willst, hier offene Ohren. Zwei offene Ohren dafür.
I mean, the copium for Hanwha fans is like, you've got to rise, you've got a lot of wave clear. Maybe somehow you can just hang on here. It's still a 2 Drake apiece game. That 2 minutes left on the Baron, though, is going to feel so oppressive. They still have this Gwen. Oh, God. And,
look at Scout's items, man. He's got a Rabadon's completed.
He got the Rabadons. Still no actualization.
Montag bitte nicht in dein Portfolio.
Dragon, but I think if you're Hanwha, you're like, yeah, I mean, you take it. As long as you're not killing my Nexus right now.
Was ist passiert?
It's going to get smaller. That's the best we can hope for. As you see Zeka in the top lane farming as fast as he can.
Hallo Flexen.
Put that item together, but he'll still be a full item behind.
EU set to halt US trade deal over Trump's latest tariff threat.
The way Scout plays this one out, and if the front line can stay alive and he can do that damage, maybe he could be in a miracle world. Well, the reason why they get back in, there's the actualizer finally complete way later. He would have liked it. He's so.
Ihr dürft mich heute nicht in eine schlechte Laune bringen.
Man, this is such a huge deal for Group Baron as well. As Nongshim, with this upset victory, will be able to get them within touching distance of the Elder Group. And after our next series, could be that T1 will be able to even the scoreline if Nongshim are able to close this one out. So a lot on the table, and that'd be so clean to round out the week.
Yeah.
5 and 5. Gorgeous.
T1 Hatecast, Junge, das lohnt nicht.
We'll just have to see.
No joke, also das ist schon wieder. Also okay, ich habe auch gedacht, hey, Hanwha gegen Nongshim ist unlosable, aber das ist unlosable.
Yeah, Kanavi goes in, looks for a bit of an angle.
Alexian.
3 items completed. 4 King and does have his Zhonya's now complete. Scout throwing away some rocks here, where he can.
Gibt es einen Grund, warum Java noch keine Boots fertig hat? Ich habe das Gefühl, bei Java ist es so, du musst immer itemtechnisch immer ahead of curve sein. Wenn du mal mit Java nicht ahead of curve bist, dann bist du komplett am Arsch. Deswegen Boots stehen lassen, dafür so früh wie möglich das GA zu bekommen. Ist gut.
Yeah, I can't remember back to the predictions, but I'm pretty sure it was unanimous.
Oh, I think it definitely was. I don't remember any discussion about this one. Like Nongshim versus BNK, you're like.
Hallo Pip, sie haben Loss Experience, also anscheinend. Weil dieser Varus im Vergleich zu der Yonara sieht so useless aus. Das ist insane.
Money is exactly where it needs to be here for Nongshim as well. It just makes coming back in this game so difficult for HLE. Like the lead for Scout, like it's a full Rabadon's ahead. That's like basically the money he does have.
Yeah,
we're talking about Actualizer. Yeah, Zeka has that. That's in comparison to 2 items. Yes, Rylai's is cheaper than a lot of others, so it's a little bit disingenuous, but Rabadon's is that's a price.
Taeun has level 16 and Flash and Cleanse, so killing him seems pretty out of the question. Sponge can go in as deep as he wants because he also is on his 3rd item GA. Kingen has Zhonya's, so like, you kind of just have to hope that you can get a second cast of Actualizer and everyone takes their hands off the keyboard, then maybe you can kill everyone if you're Zeka. You have to hope and pray. They were able to keep all their inhibitors alive, right? I mean, that's all they could have hoped for, and that much remained true. The waves have been pushed in. They've just been hard farming. They're trying.
Was sehen wir wahrscheinlich? Entspannt.
Sorelda's now. The Actualizer did finish, right? And Zeus is
2 Lanes wahrscheinlich, Camps hinein. Dann Drake zuerst, vermutlich. Around Mitte Post und dann into Drake.
A quad Ocean Drake Ocean Soul.
Titanic auf den Sau ist das Secondary gegangen. Ich finde es okay. Gibt ja diesen Instant Knockup theoretisch. Ist glaube ich nur ein Gefühl, Niklas. Ich glaube, Varus ist einfach ein scheiß Champ. To be honest. Gegen wen spielt T1? Ich glaube gegen DRX. Müsste DRX sein. Ja, hier im Titel auch. DRX, ja. Was für ein Javan-Skin? Das ist der Prestige of the Fallen. Vision of the Fallen, der im letzten Battle Pass war. Der Prestige.
from the draft. If you have an oppressive control with this comp, it becomes so much more difficult for your opponent to play the game. Even with Edge of Night for Guma, as we've already seen.
And this is the thing as well, utilizing the Baron in order to get even better Baron vision for next Baron. It's a slow way to play it out, but it's
fehlt das Armband? Nein.
pretty foolproof way.
Ist ja nicht, aber Game 1 gepickt.
Your opposition have to walk through darkness in order to stop a second one from going your way.
The fact that Zeus is able to get a little bit of movement here in size is more than I think Hanwha could even have hoped and prayed for. So that's one small thing. Right?
Ich glaube nicht, dass wir hier, also ne, das ist nur Post schon. Camps nehmen, Waves high pushen, into Soul.
Using the timer here for the Baron against
Die weit sind am Playable sollten. Sag niemals nie, aber sie sollten, ja. Weiß nicht, wie viel die am besser anrichten kann. Am besser, Fragezeichen. Eventuell auch der Actualizer Rise, aber es sollte am Playable sein, ja. Warte, Game 1 auf Helios, guck mal, Yoshi. Krasser Tag, ich unterstütze dich.
It's the old full item build, but does now have another slot considering the quest. Scout, will he be able to get the shove? He does manage to find it there under the light, but he puts up the door.
Weiter ein Posture sollte hinter Drake gehen. Nicht Nash. Also, wir nehmen immer Soul über Drake, oder nicht? Longshim? Okay. Flash Engage auf Sekka. Perfekte Combo. Shield ist big. Wow. Ich glaube, der macht so viel Damage. EQ-Combo muss man aufpassen. Nee, wird komplett durch CC. King in der Backline. 1-0 Kanabito. 2-0 GG. 2-0 Longshim. Wow. Ich bin überrascht. Lieber Scout als Soul als Drake. Soul als Nash, sorry. Soul als Nash, of course. Aber ich bin impressed. Ich bin impressed. GG.
Dismantling HLE in Game 2 and Game 1, showcasing a completely different resilience. But in
well played.
the second one,